Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Mr. Sargent Teaches Vocabulary. But for today's video, we're actually going to take out the vocabulary and we're going to put in reading comprehension. Now, for those of you that don't know what reading comprehension is, it's the point of reading. It is understanding what you are reading, being able to answer questions, being able to have a conversation, being able to identify different parts of the story and be able to retell them. Listen, whatever we read, we need to start making connections with. It is the best way to not just pass the test, not just do our homework, but with everything that we read, it helps us with everything that we read and get a better love and better understanding of what we're reading. So for today's video, we're going to be doing something special. I'm going to actually help you with this week's homework. Now, if you're watching this past this week, you can still use this as a strategy that's going to help you with every reading comprehension from here on in. See, what we're about to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is something that you can use in every class that has reading comprehension. Every test that has reading comprehension. Every activity that has reading comprehension. Are you getting tired of me saying reading comprehension? Well, I'm not tired of it because we need to understand what we're reading. Okay? So, the strategy that we're going to be using today is unreal. Oh, I know. It is unreal. Actually, it is unreal. The strategy unreal has a 6-step process that helps us break down a reading comprehension. Now, I got this from 3rd grade. So if we are able to master it as a 2nd grader, you are going to be even more prepared and ready for the 3rd grade. All right, so are you with me? Okay, so the reading comprehension that we're going to be doing today is we need water. I figured this one would be perfect because we're talking about science here. And you know how much I love science. But we can use reading comprehension strategies even in our science. So we're going to be doing we need water right here. But like I said before, we can do this strategy with any of the reading comprehensions that you get. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to put Unreal back up. There we go. So Unreal is back up here. If you look, Unreal stands for underline the title, number the paragraphs, read the questions and text, not the answers. Eliminate wrong answers, answer the questions, and the L down there, look back and underline text evidence for your answers. Okay, you ready to work on this, ladies and gentlemen? Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the whole time what I'm going to do is I am going to put the reading comprehension behind me, but I'm also going to have Unreal too so we know what to do. So we're going to do this step by step. So the first thing that we're going to do, the U, is underline the title. So if we look right here, we see we need water. What we need to do is underline the title. And bam, that was easy. The first strategy is easy. Now, why do we underline the title, you may ask? Well, the title is our first chance to get an idea of what we're about to read. It sets the stage. It gives us an idea of just what we're about to read so that when we read through the passage, we get a better understanding of, well, how they came up with the title and how the title helps introduce the concept that we're about to learn. And we can even make guesses about what we're about to learn here. With the title, We Need Water, we know that, well, this story is going to be about water. Okay, we don't even have to look at anything else. We know we're about to read about water. And that's why it's so important to underline the title. Because it gives us that first introduction. It gets our minds right to what we're about to read. Okay? So now we go to the N. The N is number the paragraphs. So right now you don't see the numbers, but if I do this, you see the paragraphs already numbered. Now, the reason why we do this, ladies and gentlemen, so that later on when we're looking for proof, when we're looking for evidence, we know which paragraph to find it in. All right? So we've numbered the paragraphs so that we can go back in, and instead of reading the entire passage over, we can just identify the paragraph that we're looking for. All right, so we've got the U, we've got the N, now we're at the R. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and read the questions and text. Now, it says not the answers. Why don't we read the answers? Well, first of all, I'm going to be honest with you. The greatest thing about reading comprehension is the answer is right in front of you. It's there. It's either A, B, C, or D. It's right there. Now, we could go through and just pick answers, but what we're doing with this strategy is, especially with the R for Unreal, is we're reading the questions so that when we're reading, we can create our own answers. See, by creating our answers, we can later match it with one of the answer choices that they have. All right? So we read the questions, and then we're going to read the text. So let's go ahead and read the questions first, and then go back and do the reading. So let's put the questions up, okay? So question number 1, what is the water cycle? Now, this isn't part of Unreal, but what I would do is if there's any words that I want to look for or any vocabulary that I need to be looking for that helps me understand the question better, I'm going to go ahead and underline it. So what I would love to do is have your opinion. What would you underline in what is the water cycle? I would underline what the water cycle. Okay, so we know we're looking for a definition for the water cycle. You notice how we're not looking at the answers? Good. We're looking at just the questions. Let's try number 2. The sun warms the water in rivers, lakes, and oceans. How does this change the water? Whew, great question. Here's what I would do. There are 3 things that I would kind of underline or keep in mind. 1, we're talking about how the sun warms things. And if you go to the question itself, how does this change the water? I would underline the word change. We're looking for how the sun changes the water. Now, you may think you already know the answer, but we're going to go back into the story and read the text to get the answer. We're going to create our answer through our reading. Guys, this is the key to success in reading comprehension. Number 3, water changes forms during the water cycle. What evidence best supports this conclusion? Uh-oh, there's a word there. The last one, conclusion. See, we kind of know what evidence is. We kind of know what everything else is, but we need to understand what the word conclusion means in this context. What evidence best supports this conclusion? In this case, the word conclusion can be a synonym to idea or thought or passage. So when it says water changes form during the water cycle, that is our conclusion. That is our understanding. So what we're looking for is the evidence. Okay, we're looking for the proof of that. Okay, and we're going to go back into the story later and find it. Number 4, why is it important for the water cycle to keep going? Listen, you could probably already tell what I would underline in that question. All right, definitely important. And water cycle, keep going. Why is it important that the water cycle keeps going, keeps repeating itself? Okay, notice how we're still not looking at the answers. Good. And number 5, what is the main idea of the text? Now, I will be completely honest with you. Sometimes finding the main idea is the toughest part. When we think of main idea, we think of what's most important to us instead of what's important to the entire passage. After you read the entire story, what is the entire story trying to tell you? Not just one thing, but what does the entirety of what you're reading truly show you? Once you have that, you have the main idea. So now, if we're still on R, well, now we get to read the text. So let's go to the story and go ahead and read it together. We need water. Every living thing needs water to live. People need clean, fresh water for drinking, washing, and having fun. How do you use water? And then we have the subheading here, watch the water cycle. Water is found nearly everywhere. It's in the ground we walk on and in the air we breathe. Water moves from land to sky and back again. That journey is called the water cycle. Did you ever wonder where that glass of water comes from? Well, take a look. And if you look, here's the picture they give you. I'm going to put a better picture up. There you go. You can see it in color now of the water cycle. Is it important that we look at the pictures? Absolutely. Oh, listen, I love pictures and stories. And when we're doing reading comprehension, anytime there's a picture in it, it is going to help us understand it a little bit better. And here we have a picture of the entire water cycle. This should help us. And then we go down to the bottom. If you look at the bottom here, this is when they start to number it. Now, if you noticed when I numbered the paragraphs, I numbered the third paragraph, all of the numbers. I think all of those should be in the same kind of group, okay? Now, number 1, the sun warms the water in rivers, lakes, and oceans. Soon, the warm water changes into gas. That change is called evaporation. The gas floats up and forms clouds in the sky. Wait, I'm going to pause right there for a second. I remember one of our questions talking about the sun being important to warm things up. I need to remember this when I'm answering my question so I know where to go back and look. So what I would do is I could put a little mark next to number 1 or a little star next to number 1 to know to go back to that section, because maybe, just maybe, one of my answers is going to be found there. Number 2, the gas in clouds cools. Soon, the cool gas turns back into water that, and now we turn the page, change is called condensation. Number 3, water falls from the clouds to earth as raindrops or snowflakes. That process is called precipitation. And number 4, rain soaks into the ground. The water flows back into rivers, lakes, and oceans. That process is called collection. Soon, the water cycle starts all over again. And now we have our next subheading, protect water, with another picture there of turning off water in the water faucet. That's what the caption says underneath it. We always read the captions because it'll help us understand. Now, already I can get a hypothesis of what we're about to read. The subheading says protect water, and here it's saying turning off the water faucet while brushing your teeth. Is that a way to save water and protect water? Absolutely. So now that I have a thought of kind of what I'm about to read, I can prepare myself for the final section. Here are some tips that you can follow to protect Earth's water. Pick up trash and do not litter. Trash can let harmful poisons flow into the water. And the second one, don't waste water. Save water by turning off the faucet while brushing your teeth. Okay, first of all, great story. This is what we call a nonfiction. This is the science story. So when we go back and answer the questions, we're going to be looking back at the text to find our proof. Because, well, it's kind of important that we find the proof that we're right. So, feel comfortable with the story. If you need to go back and reread the story, that's okay. Oftentimes, I have to read the story 3 or 4 times to get a better understanding of just what we're doing. Okay? But let's see how much we can answer here. So we're back to our questions. There we go. And we're going to start with number 1. What is the water cycle? Now, over here, if you look at our Unreal, we're now at the E, where we get to eliminate wrong answers. This means crossing off wrong answers. So, let's take a look at our answer choices. A, an area of the world with oceans, lakes, and rivers. B, trash that lets harmful poisons flow into the water. Or C, the process where water moves from land to sky and back again. Now, since we're eliminating, you may know the answer. I think you do. I think you know the answer, but with our strategy, what we're doing here is we're doing that eliminating wrong answers. So what answers would you cross off immediately? I would cross off B, trash that lets harmful poisons flow into the water. Why? Because that wasn't mentioned until the end of the story where it talked about protecting water. That wasn't the whole thing. That wasn't the water cycle. That wasn't mentioned until the end. So I'm going to cross off B. So that leaves us between A and C. Now, you could eliminate another answer if you know for sure that that's not the answer. But now what we've done is we've taken a problem with 3 answers and now we only have 2 to choose from. And if we go back to Unreal, the A is answer the question. Well, I'm picking C. I don't know about you. If you've already picked C, great job. C, the process where water moves from land to sky and back again. Now, before I go to any other questions, I want to go back to Unreal. See, we just did the A and answer the question. Now, let's skip to L. Now, I will tell you, E through L, you should do 1 question at a time together, okay? So for every question, eliminate wrong answers, answer the question, and then with the L, look back over and understand the text evidence for your answers. So if we go back, we picked C, the process where water moves from land to sky and back again. Let's see if we can find out where we found this answer. So let's go back to our reading. And if we take a look at the second paragraph, as we reread that, look at sentence number 3. If you see, it literally says water moves from land to sky and back again. That's the water cycle. Did we just prove our answer? Yes, we did. So what I would do is in my story, I would go ahead and underline water moves from land to sky and back again. So go ahead and underline that now. All right, you got it? Did we just get Unreal? We did, didn't we? Let's go to question number 2. Okay, question number 2 said, the sun warms the water in rivers, lakes, and oceans. How does this change the water? Okay, we have A, water changes from gas into liquid through precipitation. B, water soaks into the ground and flows back into lakes and oceans. Or C, water changes from liquid to gas through evaporation. Now with this, we may need to go back into the question. What were the key words that we were looking for? Sun warming the water and changing. So as sun warms the water, it changes. Would you cross off anything? It may be difficult to find the right answer to cross off. So in this case, we may want to go right back to, well, the story. So let's go back to this part. And if you notice in this part, it goes step by step what each process of the water cycle is. Now, what are we looking for? We are looking for sun warming and the water changing. So as we look through this, if you look at number 1, go ahead and reread that. The sun warms the water in rivers, lakes, and oceans. Soon the warm water changes into gas. That change is called evaporation. The gas floats up to the sky, or floats up and forms clouds in the sky. Did we find our answer? Yes. Underline number 1 right there. Underline that. Okay? And we can go back now to our question. And, well, when water changes from gas to liquid through precipitation. That's not the answer, is it? So we can eliminate that answer. Water soaks into the ground and flows back into lakes and rivers. We can eliminate that answer because that didn't have anything to do with it. Water changes from liquid to gas through evaporation. Wasn't that what we underlined? So let's go ahead and pick C for our answer. You see the purpose of using Unreal? It may take a little extra time, but it's worth it. It is worth it. Let's go ahead and answer the final questions. Ready? Number 3, water changes form during the water cycle. What evidence best supports this conclusion. Now, with this, you may not have to go back into the story, but we can go through and eliminate what is wrong. So we're looking for water changing forms. And now we're looking for the evidence. A, pick up trash and do not litter. Trash can be harmful, poisons flow into the water. Does that have anything to do with the water cycle? It doesn't, does it? That has to deal with protecting water. So can we eliminate A? Yes. How about B? The gas in clouds cools. Soon the cool gas turns back into water. The change is called condensation. Ooh, I like that answer. Does that talk about how changes happen during the water cycle? Yes. So I'm not eliminating that one yet, but I'm still going to read my answer choice. So let's take a look at C. People need clean, fresh water for drinking, washing, and having fun. How do you use water? Does that have anything to do with the water cycle? No, I think that goes back to just how we use water, and it could possibly be protecting water. So I would cross off C. So that leaves us with what answer? B, correct? Yes, B. So far, we're doing a great job. We got our first three answer choices, and we're down to question number 4 and number 5. Number 4, why is it important for the water cycle to keep going? Now, I'll be completely honest with you. After reading this story, does it ever mention that? It doesn't. See, this is a question called inference. Inference is when you have to make an educated guess based on what you just read. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's infer or use our inference skills to answer this question. Now, we're still going to eliminate wrong answers, but honestly, if you take a look, we're looking for why the water cycle needs to repeat. That's what we're looking for. A, the water cycle must keep going so all plants, animals, and people always have enough fresh, clean water. I like that answer. Am I going to circle it yet? No, I'm going to see if I can cross off the other two. B, the water cycle must keep going so people can waste water when they brush their teeth. That's just a silly answer, isn't it? Whenever you find a silly answer, let's go put a big old X on that one. We're going to cross that one right out. And then we have C. The water cycle must keep going so people can spend time collecting more trash in lakes. You see the look on my face? We automatically know that that answer is wrong, don't we? So let's go ahead and cross off C as well. So that leaves us with what answer? Leaves us with A, doesn't it? You see, using Unreal helps us find and eliminate these wrong answers so we're less confused about what we're reading and what we're answering. And then finally, probably the most important question on this activity is, what is the main idea of the text? Now, if you remember, we talked about what main idea was. It is what this entire passage is about. Not just one part, but the entire thing. The entire thing that we read. Now, when you get to this question, you may want to reread the story to get a refresher of just what the main idea is. But let's go ahead and take a look at our answers and see if there are any that we can eliminate. A, water goes through the water cycle, the cycle to provide fresh water for all living things, and we should try to protect it. Whew. That's a pretty good answer. I'm not going to pick it. Once again, I'm going to look at my other answer choices because there may be a better one. Or there may be some answers that we can automatically cross off. B, people should try to save water by turning off the faucet when they are brushing their teeth. I love that too, but the only place that that was mentioned was in the caption. Was that mentioned in the entire story? So it can't be the main idea. So let's go ahead and X that one out. And C, precipitation happens when water falls from the clouds onto the earth as raindrops or snowflakes. Was that in the story? Yes, it was. Was it the most important part of the story? I don't think so. So if I had to choose between answer A and answer C, what's my best answer? I'm going to be honest with you, I think I'm going A. So we're going to go ahead and pick A. Now, how'd you do? Do you understand how to do these a little bit better? And you can do these a lot with every reading comprehension. So we have Unreal here, and this is going to be a strategy that we're going to continue to use. We're going to continue to underline the title because it helps us introduce what we're about to read. We're going to number the paragraphs because it helps us locate just where we're finding information. We're going to read the questions and text, but not the answers. We're actually going to create our own answers. And then we're going to combine the EAL, where we eliminate wrong answers, answer the question, and then look back and underline the text evidence for your answers. Ladies and gentlemen, my advice for you is practice. The more you practice being Unreal, the easier it's going to get, and I guarantee the more you're going to make connections with what you're reading. All right? So my advice, ladies and gentlemen, go out there, find some reading comprehension. Ask Miss Daniels, ask your teachers for some reading comprehension so that you can practice being Unreal. So until next time, keep practicing, keep trying, and I am so proud of you.